Silverwood nights, maps spread on the table, enemies watching, counting every label. Rome in the rain, stone cold on the feet, lost king of calling, a pulse in the streets, dust on my boots, but my heart won't retreat. Shadows in the fall, footsteps in the night, Maccabees moving, ready for the fight, dust on the road, storm rolling by, truth buried deep, but it never dies. Solomon leads where the old maps break, Mattathias strikes when the silence aches. Stephen reads clues by a guttered light. Jacob cracks lines while the city holds tight. Ghosts in the dark keep the memory bright. Hidden doors whisper the names we swore. Ancient roads hung with the steps before. Kingdom of shadows, we answer the call. Remember the fallen, remember them all. Carry the flame when the night starts to fall. Shadows in the fall, footsteps in the night, Maccabees moving, ready for the fight, dust on the road, storm rolling by, truth buried deep, but it never died. Lost kingdom, hidden doors, ancient roads, Maccabees. Lost kingdom, hidden doors, ancient roads, Maccabees. Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the wait is over. Welcome to Maccabees, Shadows of the Lost Kingdom.
Silverwood Springs, Nevada. A forgotten desert town where dust storms buried secrets and abandoned mines concealed history. The desert wind howled through cracked streets and abandoned storefronts. Neon signs buzzed outside liquor stores that should have closed years ago. Rusted trucks sat motionless beneath fading billboards, while the mountains watched silently from the horizon. Most people saw another dying town. They never saw the war underneath it. Stephen stood overlooking the valley as the sun disappeared behind the desert hills. Most people never ask what's buried underneath a town like this. Jacob shoved his hands into his pockets. That's because they're told not to. Mattathias smirked. Or because they're scared of the answer. Solomon's eyes never left the abandoned mine entrance in the distance. They should be. A gust of wind swept dust across the highway. Because beneath Silverwood Springs, the truth had been waiting for generations, waiting beneath forgotten tunnels, waiting beneath buried records, waiting beneath blood. Everything changed the night St. Bartholomew Cathedral exploded. Rain poured from the heavens as thunder shook the city. Flames erupted through stained glass windows. Ancient stone walls cracked under the force of the blast. The war stepped out of the shadows. Mercenaries flooded the cathedral courtyard, carrying assault rifles and flashlights. Chaos erupted. Mattathias sprinted through smoke and falling debris. Move, move, move. Jacob glanced frantically toward the exits. They've locked down every way out. Stephen clutched a leather satchel tightly against his chest. Inside were documents people had killed to protect. We got the files. That's all that matters. Mattathias shoved open a burning doorway. No, getting out alive matters. Lightning flashed overhead. The entire cathedral shook. A rifle cracked somewhere in the darkness. One of the mercenaries collapsed instantly. Sniper! Another shouted. Solomon's calm voice came over the radio. 3 rooftops east. Mattathias smiled despite the danger. Took you long enough. I was counting. Another shot echoed. A second mercenary dropped. The cathedral burned behind him, and the world would never be the same. Hours later, rain battered reinforced windows deep beneath the Nevada reservation. The brothers sat around a steel table inside a hidden bunker. No one spoke. The only sound came from a tablet resting in the center of the room. Their grandfather's face appeared on the screen. Elijah Maccabees, dead, yet somehow still speaking. If you're watching this, the old man's eyes seemed heavier than they had ever remembered. They already know who you are. Jacob lowered his head. Grandpa knew. Stephen nodded quietly. He always knew. Elijah continued. The truth is bigger than race. His voice echoed through the bunker. Bigger than politics. Bigger than religion. Rain hammered the windows. They buried identity because identity creates unity. The brothers exchanged uneasy looks. Elijah leaned closer to the camera. And unity destroys empires. Silence filled the room. Mattathias finally broke it. Who killed him? Solomon stared at the screen. His jaw tightened. We already know. Nobody answered. Nobody needed to. Deep down, they all knew. The bunker felt colder after the recording ended. Rain continued pouring outside. Solomon stood quietly and walked toward a storage cabinet hidden against the wall. Stephen noticed immediately. You already know something. Solomon didn't answer. Instead, he pulled out a weathered folder. Classified. The faded letters seemed older than the bunker itself. Jacob frowned. What is it? Solomon returned to the table. I found this in Grandpa's archives. Mattathias leaned forward. What's inside? Solomon opened the folder carefully. Photographs. A knot formed in Stephen's stomach. Photographs of who? The room fell silent. Solomon slowly slid a single picture across the table. Stephen picked it up first. The color drained from his face. Oh, God. Jacob grabbed the photograph. His eyes widened. That's impossible. Mattathias snatched it away. For the first time in years, the fearless warrior looked shaken. No. The photograph trembled slightly in his hand. No. Solomon finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. That's Dad. The image showed Josiah Maccabees, alive, standing beside Pope Van Dyke years after he was supposedly dead. The room became silent. Not the silence of peace, the silence before everything breaks. Rome, 2:13 a.m. Rain hammered ancient streets beneath dark skies. Water rolled across centuries-old stone roads as church bells echoed in the distance. The 4 brothers moved cautiously through a narrow alley near Vatican City. Nobody trusted the shadows anymore. Not after what they had learned. Not after what they had seen. Then a voice emerged from the darkness. You boys walk exactly like your grandfather. The brothers spun instantly, weapons raised. He stepped beneath a flickering streetlight. Older, scarred, weathered, but unmistakable. Jacob's voice nearly failed him. It can't be. Stephen froze. Mattathias tightened his grip on his weapon. You've got 5 seconds. Matt, Stephen warned. Solomon stared into the rain. The world around him seemed to disappear. Dad. Josiah Maccabees stepped forward slowly. Rain poured from his coat. His eyes carried years of pain, years of secrets, years of sacrifice. I don't have much time. Mattathias exploded. You abandoned us. The words echoed through the alley. Years of anger finally unleashed. You left us. You left Mom. You left all of us. Josiah's expression hardened. His voice thundered through the storm. I saved you. The alley fell silent. Even the rain seemed quiet. Josiah stepped closer. You think I wanted to disappear? His eyes moved from sun to sun. You think I wanted to miss birthdays? Miss graduations? Miss your lives? Nobody answered. Because for the first time, they could see the pain in him. The pain of a man who had spent years carrying a burden he could never explain. And before anyone could speak again, a shadow watched from above, high atop the rooftops of Rome, waiting, watching. The ghost was coming. The rain continued falling over Rome. Water streamed down ancient walls and flooded narrow alleyways as thunder rolled across the city. The brothers stood frozen. Josiah Maccabees had returned from the dead, or at least the dead they had believed him to be. Before anyone could speak again, a slow clap echoed from above. One clap, then another. The brothers looked upward. A lone figure stood on a rooftop overlooking the alley. Black suit, black gloves, cold eyes. Homechio, the ghost. The man their grandfather had spent decades hunting. The man who haunted every warning Elijah Maccabees ever gave him. Homay stepped forward into the ring. You inherited a war your bloodline was never supposed to survive. Mattathias immediately raised his weapon. Come down here and say that. A faint smile crossed Homay's face. Rain rolled from his shoulders. You're exactly like your grandfather. Solomon stepped forward. His eyes never left Homay. You killed him. The smile widened. No. Silence filled the alley. Homay tilted his head. I merely watched. The answer struck harder than a confession. Stephen felt anger rising inside him. Jacob clenched his fists. Mattathias looked ready to charge the rooftop. But Solomon remained still, studying him, reading him, trying to understand what kind of man could watch a murder and feel nothing. Homay slowly backed away into the darkness. You'll understand soon enough. Then he disappeared, gone, like a ghost. The reunion lasted less than 30 seconds. Then somebody pulled the trigger. Crack! A sniper round tore through the rain. Josiah moved instantly. Years of training took over. He shoved Jacob aside. The bullet ripped through his shoulder. Blood sprayed across wet stone. Dad, Stephen, the sniper, Solomon shouted. Another shot slammed into the wall behind him. Stone exploded. Josiah grabbed Stephen's arm. Move! The alley erupted into chaos. The trap had been sprung. High above them, muzzle flashes appeared across nearby rooftops. Professional shooters, coordinated, disciplined, waiting. The brothers scattered for cover. Rain mixed with blood, thunder mixed with gunfire, and Rome became a battlefield. Homay Chio never fought fair. He preferred confusion. He preferred fear. Most of all, he preferred watching people destroy themselves. Mercenaries suddenly descended from rooftops on cables. Assault rifles opened fire. The narrow streets echoed with gunfire. Mattathias stepped into the open. I'm gonna kill you! Homay's voice echoed from somewhere unseen. No, a pause. You'll try. Bullets struck ancient stone around him. Stephen dragged Josiah behind cover. Jacob pulled out a tablet. His fingers flew across the screen. Security cameras, traffic systems, communications networks. Everything connected, everything vulnerable. Everything became a weapon. The ghost had started the war, but the Maccabees intended to finish it. For the first time in years, the brothers fought together, not as children, not as trainees, not as survivors, as warriors. Solomon climbed a nearby fire escape and reached a rooftop. Rain soaked his jacket. His rifle found its target instantly. One mercenary dropped, then another, then another. Matt! Left flank. Mattathias spun and intercepted an attacker rushing from a side street. The fight lasted less than 5 seconds. Got it! Stephen moved through the chaos like a shadow. Years of training finally unleashed. A mercenary lunged. Stephen sidestepped, disarmed him, dropped him, kept moving. 3 incoming? Jacob glanced at his screen. A grin appeared. Correction. His fingers tapped rapidly. 3 less. Suddenly, enemy drones overhead changed direction. Mercenaries looked upward, confused. The drones opened fire. Their own weapons turned against them. Chaos erupted. Mattathias laughed. That's my brother. The battlefield shifted instantly. And for the first time that night, the enemy started losing. The gunfire eventually faded. The survivors retreated into the darkness. Ambulance sirens echoed somewhere in the distance. Rome remained awake, watching, waiting. The brothers regrouped inside an abandoned safe house hidden near the edge of the city. Nobody spoke for several minutes. Everyone was exhausted. Everyone was soaked. Everyone was bleeding. Then Jacob noticed something sitting in the middle of the table. A flash drive. Small, black, deliberately placed. His eyes narrowed. This wasn't dropped. Stephen stepped closer. It was planted. Mattathias immediately reached for it. Open it. Solomon shook his head. No. The room fell silent. Mattathias frowned. Then why are we looking at it? A small smile appeared on Solomon's face. Because that's exactly why we're opening it. Jacob plugged the drive into a laptop. The screen flickered. Static filled the room. Encrypted files began loading. Dozens of folders, dozens of recordings. Dozens of secrets. Then one file opened automatically. A familiar face appeared. Elijah Maccabees, their grandfather, alive on screen, waiting, watching, as if he had known this exact moment would come. Stephen slowly sat down. Jacob stared without blinking. Mattathias folded his arms. Solomon leaned closer. The old man looked directly into the camera, and for a moment, it felt like he was looking directly at them. The final warning was about to begin. The safe house fell silent. Rain tapped softly against the windows. The glow from the laptop illuminated the brothers' faces as Elijah Maccabees appeared on the screen once more. His eyes looked tired, older, as if he had spent decades carrying a burden too heavy for one man. If you're seeing this, he paused, they've already begun. Stephen leaned forward. What does that mean? Elijah sighed. The old man seemed to know this question was coming. The war isn't coming. His voice echoed through the room. It's already here. Nobody spoke. Outside, thunder rolled across Rome. Elijah continued. For generations, they buried truth beneath politics, beneath religion, beneath fear. They taught people to hate each other, to divide themselves, to forget who they were. Jacob lowered his eyes. He had spent years uncovering hidden files, years exposing lies, but even he wasn't prepared for what his grandfather was describing. The moment people begin asking questions, Elijah said quietly, the empire starts to crack. Stephen whispered, Grandpa. The old man looked directly into the camera. If you're watching this, then the cracks have already begun. The recording continued. Elijah's expression grew more serious. There is something I never told you. Mattathias folded his arms. Here we go. The old man ignored the comment. Everything we've uncovered, the records, the archives, the murders, the cover-ups, a pause, they were all distractions. The brothers exchanged confused looks. Solomon narrowed his eyes. What are you talking about? As if hearing him across time, Elijah answered. The real objective was never the files. The room became still. It was the archive. Mattathias straightened immediately. Archive? Elijah nodded. There's another archive. Silence. Jacob blinked. What? Stephen shook his head slowly. No. Business? Elijah pointed towards something off screen. A digital map suddenly appeared. Ancient tunnels, underground chambers, hidden passageways, all converging beneath one location. The Vatican. Mattathias stared. You're kidding. I'm not. Elijah's voice remained calm. The original records are still there. The records everyone has been killing to protect. The records everyone has been killing to destroy. Stephen felt his stomach tighten. How long have you known? Elijah looked away. Long enough. The screen flickered. The map zoomed deeper. Far beneath the Vatican. Far below public view. Deep underground. A hidden chamber appeared. Ancient. Massive. Sealed. Waiting. Jacob whispered, Oh my God. Elijah's final words echoed through the room. Whatever happens next, get to the archive first. Then the screen went black. Thousands of feet below Vatican City, another man watched the world burn. Pope Van Dyke stood alone inside a massive underground vault. Stone pillars stretched into darkness. Ancient scrolls filled towering shelves. Golden artifacts rested beneath glass displays. Centuries of secrets surrounded him. Carmine Della Torre entered slowly. A glass of wine rested in his hand. The billionaire studied a nearby monitor showing riots spreading across major cities. Los Angeles, London, Rio de Janeiro, Johannesburg. The world was beginning to shake. The world is already burning. Van Dyke didn't look away from the screens. Good, Carmine frowned. You planned this. Van Dyke smiled faintly. I planned everything. The old pope approached an enormous stone doorway. Ancient symbols covered its surface. Symbols older than governments, older than kingdoms, older than empires. Carmine stared. What exactly is behind that door? Van Dyke's smile widened. The reason everyone is afraid. Miles away, inside a hidden command center, Home Chio watched the same chaos unfold. Dozens of screens covered the walls. News reports, riots, military deployments, financial crashes. Everything happening exactly as predicted. A mercenary commander approached cautiously. People are waking up. Home remained silent. The commander continued. The information is spreading faster than we can stop it. Home finally spoke. People are easiest to control when divided. The commander nodded. What if they unite? For the first time all night, Home hesitated, only briefly. They won't. Silence. Then Home looked toward a monitor displaying the 4 Maccabees brothers. A faint smile disappeared from his face. Unless the Maccabees succeed. The commander noticed immediately. The ghost wasn't afraid of governments. He wasn't afraid of armies. He wasn't afraid of revolutions. But he was concerned about those 4 brothers, and that made him dangerous. The following evening, a cargo aircraft cut through storm clouds above the Mediterranean Sea. Inside the cargo bay sat 4 brothers. Weapons surrounded them. Maps covered the walls. Equipment cases lined the floor. No one slept. No one could. Rome waited ahead. The Vatican waited ahead. History waited ahead. Mattathias finally broke the silence. Anybody else think this is insane? Stephen laughed. Completely. Jacob looked up from his tablet. Statistically speaking, we're probably dead, Mattathias pointed. See, even the genius agrees. For the first time all day, Solomon smiled. Then let's make sure we're right before we die. The brothers laughed, a rare moment, a necessary moment, because they all understood what came next. This wasn't another mission. This wasn't another investigation. This wasn't another conspiracy. This was the center of the maze, the place every clue had led them, the place their grandfather died trying to reach, the place their father spent years protecting them from, the archive. Outside the aircraft, lightning illuminated the clouds. Far ahead, the lights of Rome appeared on the horizon, growing larger, growing closer. The storm waited ahead. The Vatican waited ahead. And beneath Vatican City, a truth powerful enough to shake the world was waiting to be uncovered. Rome waited beneath the storm. Lightning flashed across the skyline as the cargo aircraft descended through dark clouds. Far below, the city stretched across the horizon like a living monument to centuries of power, conquest, and secrets. For thousands of years, kings, emperors, armies, and conquerors had marched toward Rome. Tonight, 4 brothers joined that list. Inside the cargo bay, nobody slept. Nobody could. Weapons surrounded them. Maps covered the walls. Equipment cases lined the floor. The mission ahead was unlike anything they had faced before. Mattathias finally broke the silence. Anybody else got a bad feeling? Jacob looked up from his tablet. Several. Stephen laughed. Only several? Mattathias pointed. That's never comforting. Solomon checked his rifle one final time. Focus. Outside the aircraft, thunder rolled through the clouds. Rome was getting closer. The Vatican wasn't the problem. Getting beneath it was. Hours later, the brothers moved through rain-soaked Roman alleyways. Ancient stone walls towered above them. Streetlights reflected across wet cobblestone. Jacob followed an encrypted map projected from his tablet. This doesn't make sense. Mattathias looked around. What doesn't? Jacob zoomed deeper. The archive isn't beneath St. Peter's. Stephen frowned. Then where is it? Jacob stopped walking. His eyes narrowed. Below something older. Stephen looked confused. How much older? Jacob slowly looked up. Roman Empire older, and nobody spoke. Even Mattathias stopped joking. Ahead of them stood the entrance to forgotten catacombs buried beneath the city, the place where Elijah's trail continued. Beneath Rome, history never truly died. Ancient tunnels stretched endlessly beneath the earth. Dust filled the air. Broken statues rested in darkness. Thousands of forgotten dead surrounded them. Flashlights swept across ancient stone walls. Mattathias glanced around nervously. I hate tunnels. Stephen smirked. You hate everything. That's not true. Jacob looked over. What don't you hate? Mattathias opened his mouth, then stopped. Silence. Jacob smiled. Exactly. The brothers continued deeper. The tunnels seemed endless. The deeper they traveled, the older everything became. It felt less like entering history, and more like entering something that history had forgotten. Then came the cliff. Small, sharp, deadly. Jacob froze instantly. Don't move. Mattathias was already stepping forward. I'm already moving. Jacob closed his eyes. That's the opposite of what I just said. The floor shifted beneath them. Ancient mechanisms awakened. Stone groaned. Massive gears turned somewhere inside the walls. Then chaos erupted. Spikes exploded from hidden compartments. Stone blades swung across the corridor. The ceiling began collapsing. Run! Mattathias didn't need to be told twice. The brothers sprinted through the collapsing passage. Ancient traps fired from every direction. Dust filled the tunnel. Stone shattered around them. Jacob dove beneath a swinging blade. Stephen barely cleared a collapsing wall. Solomon grabbed Mattathias and pulled him away from a spike trap. Seconds later, they burst into another chamber, breathing heavily, covered in dust. Mattathias leaned against a wall. I officially hate Rome. Far beneath Vatican City, another argument was beginning. Carmine Della Torre stood inside the underground vault staring at Pope Van Dyke. Ancient artifacts surrounded them. Monitors displayed unrest spreading across the globe. Cities burned. Governments panicked. Markets collapsed. You lied to me. Van Dyke never looked away from the screens. I omitted details. Carmine's jaw tightened. You started a global war. The Pope slowly turned. No. Silence filled the vault. Then Van Dyke smiled. I revealed one. For the first time, Carmine questioned everything. As Van Dyke approached a massive stone doorway covered in ancient symbols, Carmine quietly slipped a hand beneath his jacket, toward the pistol hidden underneath. The alliance was beginning to crack. The catacombs eventually opened into a chamber so large the brothers couldn't see the far wall. Massive pillars rose from darkness. Broken crowns rested upon ancient stone altars. Statues of forgotten rulers stared down from above. Stephen slowly turned in a circle. Nobody built this recently. Jacob shook his head. That's the understatement of the century. Mattathias looked upward. You two always say the same thing differently. Ahead of them stood another set of doors, larger than anything they had encountered, older than Rome, older than memory, and waiting. The doors stood motionless, ancient, massive, impossible. Dust drifted through the flashlight beams as the brothers approached. Symbols covered every inch of the stone. Languages older than Rome, older than Latin, older than anything recorded in modern history. Jacob slowly ran his hand across the carvings. This shouldn't exist. Stephen moved closer. Can you read it? Jacob shook his head. No. Mattathias folded his arms. That's encouraging. For the first time since entering the catacombs, Solomon looked uncertain. The doors weren't protecting treasure. They were protecting something else, something important enough to survive thousands of years. Then the symbols began to glow. A low rumble echoed through the chamber. The ground shook beneath their feet. Ancient gears hidden deep inside the walls awakened. Stone scraped against stone. Dust exploded from the ceiling, and the doors began to open. Beyond the doors lay a city. Not ruins, not a temple, a city. The brothers froze. Massive structures stretched into darkness. Stone bridges crossed deep chasms. Ancient towers disappeared in the shadows overhead. Entire streets extended beyond sight. Stephen stared in disbelief. No way. Mattathias looked around. A slow grin appeared. Okay, he pointed toward the skyline. I take back everything I said about Rome. Jacob slowly turned. His eyes moved from one structure to another. This place predates recorded history. Solomon remained silent. Every instinct inside him screamed the same warning. Someone had lived here, someone had ruled here, and someone had wanted the world to forget it. Miles above them, inside Vatican City, alarms suddenly activated. Red warning lights flooded hidden corridors. Security systems awakened. Ancient locks disengaged. Pope Van Dyke stopped walking. His smile disappeared. Carmine noticed immediately. What happened? Van Dyke stared at a nearby monitor. For several seconds, he said nothing. Then his face grew pale. They opened it. Silence. Carmine frowned. What did they open? The old pope slowly looked toward the floor beneath him. The last door. For the first time in decades, fear entered his eyes. Deep within the lost city, the brothers followed a massive stone avenue. Broken statues lined both sides. Thousands of stone eyes seemed to watch them from the darkness. The city felt alive, not physically, but spiritually, like history itself was staring back. Jacob suddenly stopped. Wait. Everyone froze. Ahead stood a monument unlike anything they had seen before. The statue towered hundreds of feet above them, ancient, powerful, weathered by centuries. Stephen stepped closer. What is it? Jacob stared at the inscription beneath the monument, his face drained of color. I think, he swallowed hard. I think this is where the archive begins. Far away inside a hidden command center, Homechio watched everything unfold. Dozens of monitors illuminated the darkness. Satellite feeds, thermal imaging, security footage. The ghost stood motionless. A mercenary commander approached. The brothers reached the city. Home nodded. I know. They've opened the archive route. Silence. Then Home finally spoke. Prepare the teams. The commander hesitated. All of them? Home looked toward a monitor displaying Solomon, especially them. For the first time that night, the hunt truly began. The monument concealed a staircase. Massive stone steps descended beneath the city, deeper, older, darker. The brothers exchanged glances. Nobody liked where this was going. Mattathias looked down the staircase. I already know I'm gonna hate this. Jacob smirked. You hated the tunnels. I was right. You hate Rome. I was right again. Stephen laughed. He's got a point. Solomon stepped forward. Move. The brothers followed. The darkness swallowed them. The staircase ended inside a chamber larger than a cathedral. Rows of stone shelves stretched across the room. Ancient scrolls, stone tablets, metal plates, records. Thousands upon thousands of records. The archive. Silence filled the chamber. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. After everything, they had finally found it. Stephen slowly approached the nearest table. His hands trembled. It's real. Jacob looked around in disbelief. This could rewrite history. Mattathias folded his arms. Then let's find whatever got Grandpa killed. Stephen carefully opened the first document. Ancient symbols covered the page. Maps, genealogies, records, civilizations, kingdoms, generations. His eyes widened, then widened further. Solomon noticed immediately. What is it? Stephen didn't answer. He turned another page, then another, then another. Finally, he looked up. We've been asking the wrong questions. The room fell silent. Jacob stepped closer. What does that mean? Stephen slowly looked across the endless archive. It means this story is bigger than we thought. Then the lights went out, instantly. Darkness swallowed the chamber. Emergency red illumination flickered to life. Long shadows stretched across ancient walls. Solomon reacted first. Everybody down. Mattathias smiled. The first gunshot echoed through the archive, then another, then dozens more. Mercenaries poured from hidden passageways. Weapons raised. The ambush had begun. History became a battlefield. Ancient shelves exploded beneath gunfire. Stone shattered. Scrolls scattered through the air. Centuries of secrets were suddenly caught in the middle of a war. Stephen ducked behind cover. Protect the records. Mattathias fired back. Protect yourself. Jacob slid behind a pillar. Both would be nice. The firefight intensified. Mercenaries attacked from every direction. The brothers fought back to back, just like Rome, just like the cathedral. Only this time, the stakes were much higher, because now they knew what was hidden here, and so did their enemies. Then the shooting slowed, not because the battle was ending, because someone had arrived. A path opened through the smoke. Mercenaries stepped aside. The chamber fell quiet. A lone figure walked forward, calm, unhurried, untouched by the chaos around him. Homai Chio, the ghost. He stopped across the chamber from Solomon. The two men stared at one another. Neither blinked, neither moved. Homai smiled. You made it farther than your grandfather. Solomon never lowered his weapon. You sound disappointed. The smile disappeared. I am. And somewhere deep within the archive, another door began to open.
Yeah. 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 Maggot walls come down, shadows of the demo. Silverwood nights, dust settles slow. Grandfather's records, voices running low. Maps spread on the table, routes to roam. Every buried secret lit the way home. Solomon keeps a quiet, steady crown. Mattathias stands, won't let us down. We came through fire and rain, still carrying pain. Kings in the shadows holding broken stones. When the walls come down and the truth is known, Maccabees rise again, we reclaim the throne. Stephen reads the scrolls by a lantern's glow. Jacob cracks the light so our faces show. Enemies watching from the dark unknown. Warrior bloodline remembers bone and bone. From whispered vows to the forward drum, our line moves steady, we won't succumb. When the night calls doubt, we answer with names. Ancestral echoes burning through our veins. Storms keep falling, but the banner stays sung. In the hush before dawn, we take back what was on. We came through fire and rain, carrying pains in the shadows, holding broken stone. When the walls come down and the truth is shown, Maccabees rise, the kingdom is our home. Storms keep falling, truth keeps calling. Maccabees rising, the kingdom calling.
For 2,000 years, they buried the truth. They protected a kingdom the world was never meant to find. And now, the Maccabees have found the first clue.
This place wasn't built to be found.
According to these scans, this chamber shouldn't exist.
We're not the first ones here.
你们不该来此，血脉丧存。有东西被激活了，他们知道你在这里了。
Do not run. Tell me that's a good sign. It just killed every signal! It's watching us.
It has awakened. No one has entered since the fall.
There's an entire structure beneath us. This isn't a tomb. We have company.
We keep moving.
My God. This place is in Vatican City. This place is bigger than Vatican City. We're not alone.
No.
No. They never left.
This place shouldn't exist. These people aren't in any historical archive.
They remember the surface. To the surface. The bloodline has returned.
So, they finally came.
Easy. That's us. He knows it's impossible.
Then there is little time, no future.
This wasn't written recently. This scroll is older than the kingdom itself. Then who made it?
He has spoken.
Bring the sons of Maccabees to me.
After all these centuries, the bloodline returns. You look exactly like them. You deserve the truth.
Who are they?
Your ancestors,